As thou reviewest the world with thy transcendental knowledge and compassion, it is to thee like an ethereal flower, of which one cannot say whether it is born or destroyed, as the category of being and non-being is inapplicable to it. So this is verse 1 of the thecategory, which I began looking at in the previous video. In particular, I looked at what's meant by the transcendental knowledge and compassion. So the Buddha looks out at the world with absolutely no self-interest. He's acting in accordance with the nature of his realization of how things are. And Mahamati says that the world to the Buddha is like an ethereal flower. And in Indian mythology there are some quite extraordinary floral phenomena. But let's just take a traditional Western example of an extraordinary piece of plant life. I'm thinking of the beanstalk of Jack. The beanstalk of Jack. He planted some beans which he traded his cow for at the market, and the beans, or one of the beans, sprouted into a giant beanstalk where a flesh-eating ogre or giant lived in his castle. So this is quite an extraordinary plant, Jack's beanstalk. Now, what is the reality of this plant? Well, you might think, well, it's just a story, it's got no reality at all. And yet, it's a real story, isn't it? The story is real. It's told to generations of children. It's been made into some animations and movies. It's a popular pantomime here in the UK. And there are performances of this pantomime every Christmas. So the story is real, isn't it? The beanstalk itself is not real, but the story is real. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that's fine, the story is real, but it's not really real, is it? Now, in the previous video I was saying about how we need to review our relationship with reality, or with what we think of as reality. We need to review our relationship with the reality of this world out there, because we've got it wrong. And because we've got it wrong, we're being crippled in our endeavours to live life as fully as possible. So you think, well, reality's solid. I can touch it. I can't touch Jack's beanstalk. So what we're doing here is we're measuring our reality by whether we can touch something. Well, can we touch a song? Can we touch a piece of music? We can touch the medium which the music's recorded on, but that's not the music. And yet a piece of music can touch us, can't it? It can touch us in a huge variety of ways. It can make us want to dance, it can make us want to cry. It can have a profound effect on us, change the course of our lives. So, is a song real or not? Is music real? Or is it just the CD that it's on, the piece of plastic that it's recorded on? That's a real thing, but the music's not real. So you're saying that the piece of plastic is actually more important than the music because the piece of plastic is real. So many of us kid ourselves. We think we know what reality is. But that's not the reality we live by. We don't subscribe to the importance of a piece of plastic. We subscribe to music, which, although we cannot touch it, it can touch us, we can feel it. This is actually how reality is. Look at money. Is money the piece of paper or the coinage that you hold in your hand? If that's what it was, then you could fill up a room with it. And if that's all you need to be happy, you can sit in the room with your paper money and your coins and be perfectly happy. But that's not what money is. The whole point of money is to get rid of it, because you get things in return for it. So if you don't actually spend the money, it's of no use whatsoever. And so the reality of the money is in what you can buy with it, not in the money itself. So, can we touch money? Well, we can touch the symbols of the money, but are the symbols of the money more real than the actual buying power of the money? So we've got this idea of a concrete reality, don't we? But actually, it's no more real than Jack's Beanstalk. And if we wanted to make a religion of Jack's Beanstalk and say that it's the top of the beanstalk, that giant is actually the guardian to heaven, and you have to get through the guardian, and when you get through the guardian you find the gates of heaven, and you can get close to God that way, and we can build a whole religion about it, and then that beanstalk becomes very, very real. Religion is very real for many people, isn't it? Belief is very real. But even if you're not religious, you have strong beliefs. You have stronger beliefs about how the world works, how the world is. The world works by exploitation of the masses. It's dog eat dog. The world works in accordance with economical imperatives. The world works in accordance with Darwinian evolution. So you'll have your beliefs about the world, beliefs which you will hold as true. How real is a belief? Can you touch a belief? Can you touch communism? Can you touch religion? Can you touch politics? How concrete are these things? If you take touch, being able to touch something as a measure of how real it is, you might say that's what's real for you, but it's not. What's real for you is what I've been describing. Your beliefs, things like music, feelings, emotions, these are what are real. So this is like the ethereal flower. The categories of being and non-being do not apply to it. We can't actually say it's true or it's false. It's a story. Does that make it false? Stories have their own reality, their own truth, just like songs do, just like music does, just like poetry does. Stories shape our life. They are very real. We shape our life in accordance with stories. And can we say stories are real or not? Can we say that they exist or not? These categories don't apply. These categories do not apply to our reality. This is what's clear to the Buddha. And this is what's clear to us if we wish to step out of this mind which insists on things being true or false, existing or not existing, real or unreal. And just for the record, when you touch something, all you're getting is a sensation of resistance. And it's purely arbitrary that you're taking that as reality. The experience of resistance is just one of many experiences that are going on. But for some reason we arbitrarily take that as what is real and everything else is not real. But that's not how we really behave. We know in our heart that all those insubstantial things that I've been mentioning are more important and are more real. So this is very important, and it's worth dwelling on. Examine your relationship with reality and see to what extent it's like an ethereal flower which can be neither born nor destroyed, and which does not fit into the category of being or non-being.